Conspiracy theorists for generations have whispered tales that challenge the very bedrock of our understanding, stories of creation so outlandish they were instantly dismissed as the ramblings of the deluded. We believed we knew the truth of our genesis, of Earth's origins, and yet, what if their fictions, their wild imaginings, held a terrifying kernel of reality? What if the impossible was merely inconvenient? Consider corgotten civilizations. They contend that ancient clay tablets predating the pharaohs, strange hieroglyphs carved into stone, archaic bas-reliefs are a truth far more unsettling than any myth, a truth about the architect of our civilization. The chilling question echoes through the ages: who, truly, created humankind? It was in the year 1849. The archaeologist Henry Layard, a man driven by an insatiable curiosity for the forgotten past, led his team through the scorching sands of ancient Assyria. They were excavating the ruins of Nimrud, a city long swallowed by the desert, once a magnificent jewel in the crown of Mesopotamia. Its streets, now just faint outlines in the dust, once formed intricate designs, testament to an advanced society. This was the land once inhabited by the Sumerians, a civilization so profoundly developed, so far ahead of its time in engineering and scientific knowledge, it defies easy explanation. What was the secret to their genius? This was the enigma Layard and his team sought to unravel. The air thrummed with anticipation, then disbelief, then an almost sacred awe when the archaeologists unearthed not just a handful, not even a dozen, but nearly 20,000 clay tablets. Each one bore the delicate, precise cuneiform script of the Sumerians. These artifacts, dating back an astonishing 5,700 years, promised to unlock secrets that had been buried for millennia. Historians around the world held their breath, waiting for the translations. Surely such a sophisticated civilization could offer answers to the myriad questions that plagued humanity about its origins. When the researchers finally gained access to the translated texts, a profound disquiet settled over them. The Sumerian legends of human creation contained echoes, chillingly familiar to the myths of other ancient peoples, to the very narratives found within the Bible, and even, disturbingly, to certain universally accepted scientific facts. Yet amidst these unsettling resemblances, the Sumerian version of events unfolded with a narrative that was both incredibly grounded and utterly, terrifyingly insane. How could such a paradox exist? Listen closely, and you will begin to understand. The pivotal moment, the intellectual leap for the Sumerian civilization, was the day they were visited, the day knowledge was bestowed upon them by those who descended from the heavens. In the Sumerian tongue, they were called the Anunnaki. Their images, etched into stone and clay, depicted them with wings, or as half-human, half-bird hybrids, a visual testament to their ability to soar through the skies. Yet their texts claim these beings were, for the most part, startlingly similar to humans, though with broader shoulders, elongated, almost conical heads. The Anunnaki stood at a colossal height, reaching up to 5 meters, and their lifespan stretched beyond 1,000 years, a longevity that easily led the Sumerians to revere them as gods. The Sumerians asserted that the primary reason for the Anunnaki's descent to Earth was the acquisition of gold. The question gnaws at the mind. Why would ever is not even the most disturbing revelation within the Sumerian accounts. The Sumerians claimed that these very beings from the sky were the creators of humanity. And the reason for our creation? To shoulder the arduous, dangerous labor of mining that very gold. If the Sumerians are to be believed, then every single one of us was conceived for a singular, brutal purpose. 250,000 years ago, a chilling proposition echoed through the vast alien halls of the Anunnaki. They needed laborers, not just any workers, but a primitive, malleable workforce capable of enduring the brutal, unyielding demands of their mining operations. The existing methods, perhaps involving lesser beings or an unsustainable drain on their own resources, were no longer viable. A new solution was required, one that would etch itself into the very bedrock of human existence. They cast their collective gaze upon a creature already native to this nascent earth, a hominid, an ape. Its form, in a crude and unrefined way, bore a faint, unsettling resemblance to their own, yet it remained profoundly distant, mired in the slow, grinding gears of natural evolution. This raw, untamed potential presented a canvas for their darkest ambitions. The Anunnaki, these beings from beyond the stars, set about a grotesque transformation, twisting the very strands of life. They manipulated the creature's genetic blueprint, a profound violation of natural order, reshaping it into something new, something designed for servitude. This act, this primordial genesis, resonates with an eerie familiarity. It mirrors, with disturbing precision, ancient narratives found in the most sacred texts of our own, their own ions, bridging the vast chasm between ancient creation stories and the cold, calculating logic of an extraterrestrial design. Never before have the grand narratives of evolution and the fervent beliefs of creationism found such an unsettling point of intersection, a shared, dark genesis. The newly forged humans, burdened with purpose, spread across the lands. They toiled, their hands extracting the precious gold the Anunnaki so desperately craved. For a time, a strange, uneasy peace settled upon the earth. The mines yielded their bounty, the laborers fulfilled their grim purpose. But then, a new transgression, a deviation from the cold, sterile plan. The Anunnaki, these distant, powerful beings, began to mingle with the women of Earth, a forbidden union, a blurring of lines between master and servant, between alien and nascent human. This illicit mingling birthed a new lineage, hybrids, creatures of a fractured identity, neither wholly Anunnaki nor truly human. They were an abomination in the eyes of their creators, a dangerous anomaly that threatened the meticulously crafted order. The sovereign architect of their dominion, the chief among the Anunnaki, surveyed this chaotic proliferation with cold fury. A decision was made, swift and absolute. These flawed creations, these inconvenient hybrids, must be purged. The slate must be wiped clean. The world returned to a state of pristine, unblemished potential. And so, the cleansing began. Just as ancient texts describe, a cataclysmic deluge was unleashed upon the earth, not a wrathful act of divine retribution, but a calculated clinical extermination. The Anunnaki, from their celestial vantage point, ascended to the heavens, observing with chilling detachment as their world, their experiment, was drowned. The screams of the hybrids, the desperate pleas of the first humans, were mere echoes swallowed by the rising waters. They watched, impassive, as their creations perished, a testament to their absolute power and their utter disregard for the lives they had so casually engineered. When the raging waters receded, when the planet slowly began to heal, when life tentatively dared to reclaim its ravaged surface, the Anunnaki returned, and they created humanity anew. This time their design was more perfect, perhaps more obedient, more resilient, or simply more refined for their intended purpose. These re-engineered humans were not left to flounder in ignorance. The Anunnaki bestowed upon them a wealth of knowledge, a sudden explosive injection of advanced sciences and wisdom. They taught them the secrets of the stars, the intricacies of engineering, the very foundations of civilization. And who, among all the burgeoning human species, became the most exemplary students, the most favored recipients of this alien enlightenment? The answer is etched into the very tablets that preserve this terrifying narrative: the Sumerians. It was their hands that meticulously inscribed this history, their minds that absorbed these cosmic lessons. These are the texts that archaeologists would unearth millennia later, whispering their unsettling truths from the dust of forgotten empires. But the story, this chilling chronicle, does not end with a benevolent departure. The Sumerians, gifted with this profound knowledge, began to stir. They grew restless, their nascent intelligence chafing under the invisible yoke of their alien masters. They no longer wished to be mere slaves. A conflict, silent at first, then simmering into open defiance, brewed between the creators and their increasingly self-aware creations. The beings from the heavens, perhaps recognizing the futility of continued dominion, or simply tired of the endless struggle, once again departed Earth. This time, however, a strange, almost merciful act accompanied their departure. They did not unleash another cataclysm. Instead, they left behind their vast repository of knowledge, granting humanity the terrifying freedom to develop on its own. A double-edged sword, liberation, yes, but also a profound, unanswered question hanging over every human endeavor. What can one say to such a tale? As outlandish as it may sound, as fantastical as it appears, the core theories surrounding human creation, divine intervention, extraterrestrial seeding, all find their roots, their uncanny convergence, in these ancient Sumerian tablets. Here, inscribed in the clay, is the audacious claim of creation by gods. Yes, but also by an advanced, interplanetary civilization that journeyed to Earth, leaving behind the very spark of life and then shaping it to their will. The most disturbing revelation, a truth that chills to the bone, is that modern archaeologists, historians, and even astronomers have unearthed countless pieces of evidence, fragments that, when pieced together, seem to corroborate almost every single detail of this ancient, terrifying legend. The Anunnaki, it seems, were not merely mythical deities conjured by primitive minds. They were, in all chilling probability, something far more tangible, far more real. They were others. The very idea of the Anunnaki, first brought to light by the decipherment of Sumerian tablets in the mid-19th century, was initially dismissed by most contemporary scholars. They were seen as mere fabrications, the fanciful imaginings of an ancient people. Our ancestors, after all, often wove elaborate myths to explain the inexplicable. The sudden fury of a storm, the devastating power of fire, these were not meteorological phenomena or chemical reactions. They were the raw, untamed wrath of angry gods. Yet, the radical crypto-historian and author Zecharia Sitchin challenged this comfortable dismissal. He argued that the Sumerians were far too sophisticated, their knowledge too precise, their descriptions too vivid, to be simply inventing such intricate narratives. The beings who descended from the heavens, he posited, were not ethereal gods of myth. They were something far more concrete, far more physical, something that walked among us, something that shaped us, something that might, one day, return. Deep in the shadows of ancient history, one man dared to look beyond the accepted narratives. Zecharia Sitchin, a name now whispered among those who seek the truth beyond the veil, dedicated his entire life to the pursuit of the Anunnaki. His was a relentless quest, a painstaking descent into the forgotten wisdom etched on countless clay tablets, painstakingly carved into stone and meticulously painted in the deepest chambers of forgotten tombs. He didn't merely glance at the familiar Epic of Gilgamesh. Sitchin delved into its very core, then moved to the haunting verses of the Enuma Elish, the ancient Sumerian creation myth itself, a tale of cosmic violence and genesis. But his research didn't stop there. He meticulously studied hieroglyphs, the crude rock paintings that littered barren landscapes, and the silent staring eyes of ancient statues unearthed across the vast expanse of Mesopotamia, stretching into the sun-baked sands of neighboring Egypt. Sitchin meticulously pieced together a mosaic, a terrifying tableau of arrival. In his view, they didn't simply evolve on this planet. They descended. From the cold, indifferent void between stars, they came. Their journey, he argued, was not a matter of myth, but of a calculated, desperate voyage. The evidence, he claimed, was undeniable. Consider the Hittite reliefs, not mere artistic flourishes, but stark depictions of technology that should not have existed in that era. On one such carving, a soaring conical object, unmistakably a rocket, points skyward. On another, a figure, perhaps a deity, is encased within a luminous capsule, radiating an unearthly glow that seems to defy the very laws of ancient physics. Then, there are the temple walls of Abydos, an ancient Egyptian city. Here, etched into the stone, are images that defy all conventional understanding, shapes that resemble modern helicopters, their rotors frozen in stone, alongside sleek, cigar-shaped airships. And yes, vessels that seem ripped from a future yet to come, alien craft silently gliding through the cosmos, reminiscent of designs found only in the most speculative science fiction of our present day. The ancient Egyptians, with their rudimentary tools, their understanding of flight limited to the birds soaring overhead, could not have conceived such sophisticated mechanisms. These were not products of imagination. They were echoes, reflections of something seen, something experienced, something that left an indelible mark on their collective consciousness. If these advanced flying machines were not their own creations, then whose were they? Sitchin posited they belonged to a civilization vast and incomprehensible, possessing powers beyond our wildest dreams. But the question that gnawed at him, the one that kept him awake in the darkest hours, was chillingly pragmatic. Why gold? This precious metal, so coveted by humanity for its beauty and its perceived value as currency, held a different, far more sinister purpose for them. Not for adornment, not for trade, but as a shield, a desperate, glittering defense for a dying world. Sitchin spoke of Nibiru, the 12th planet, a phantom in our solar system, yet vividly described in those ancient Sumerian texts. Millions of years ago, according to these forgotten records, a catastrophic collision occurred, a primal impact that shattered another celestial body, forging our Earth, giving birth to our lonely moon. Nibiru, scarred and almost annihilated by this cosmic catastrophe, faced extinction. Its inhabitants, the Anunnaki, confronted an existential threat. Their only hope, the raw, unrefined gold of a nascent world, Earth, to create a protective layer for their own atmosphere, a desperate attempt to cling to survival. This mission, Sitchin asserted, was bound by a cosmic clock, a 300-year cycle. Every 3 centuries, Nibiru's vast elliptical orbit brought it close enough to Earth, a fleeting window of opportunity, a desperate scramble for survival, at our expense. Tsk, an unsettling light on anomalies science still struggles to fully explain. Consider Uranus, its unsettling wobble, a planetary dance out of sync. Not a smooth, predictable ballet, but a hesitant, almost fearful tremor in its orbit. Dr. John Anderson, a man of science, not myth, from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, posited an unseen hand, a gravitational pull from an unknown, unseen planet, a shadow lurking at the very edge of our perception, influencing the familiar dance of our solar system, and the artifacts, the silent witnesses. In the region of Mesopotamia, copper relics were discovered, crafted 10, perhaps 12,000 years ago. These were not just crude tools, but intricate forms, depicting something descending, something alien, a silent disk settling upon the earth, its purpose shrouded in the dust of millennia. Then, the carving of King Hammurabi, a ruler of Babylon, a titan of ancient law, known for his formidable code, and beside him, a deity. But this god, this divine figure, wore not the flowing robes of silk or the symbolic crowns of ancient royalty, but an enclosure, a sealed helmet, a suit that mirrored our own desperate attempts to survive the void of space. A god or a visitor, a conqueror or a desperate refugee? The lines blur, the whispers grow louder. The temple museum dedicated to Ishtar, the Mesopotamian goddess of war and love, stands as a testament to these ancient mysteries. What secrets did her silent stone walls hold? What did those who worshipped her truly see, truly understand, when they looked upon the figures that descended from the heavens? We may not be alone, and never were, and the gold beneath our feet, it might not truly be ours. Deep within the hushed archives of archaeological discovery, in a place known as Oberlin, rests an artifact that whispers of something profoundly unsettling. Matic figure is encased in what appears to be a helmet, a structure eerily reminiscent of a spacecraft component. But the strangeness does not end there. Around its neck, a peculiar, experimental-looking collar is visible, leading to a set of headphones. From these headphones, flat, angular antennae protrude, reaching out as if straining to grasp signals from an unimaginable distance. The craftsmanship is crude, yet the implications are chilling, suggesting a knowledge far beyond what we attribute to the era from which it emerged. Then, there is the matter of the Nineveh tablet, unearthed from the hallowed grounds of ancient Nineveh, a sprawling city in Upper Mesopotamia. This artifact stands as a testament to an intelligence that defies conventional understanding. It is an unusual, large, and perfectly circular tablet, dating back to a period somewhere between the 10th and 7th centuries, before the Common Era. Its surface is etched with symbols and patterns that baffled initial observers, defying all known historical scripts. But for those who delve into the shadowy corners of forgotten histories, for the conspiracy theorists who dare to ask the questions others shy away from, this tablet is something far more profound. They believe it to be a manual, a guide for pilots of interstellar craft. The notion might seem absurd, a flight of fantasy, yet the efforts undertaken to decipher its intricate markings speak to a deeper, more unsettling truth. Linguists, mathematicians, and even specialists in the arcane science of cosmic navigation converged on this single artifact, driven by an inexplicable compulsion to unlock its secrets. Their combined efforts yielded a revelation that sent a shiver through the foundations of established history. The tablet, they discovered, contained precise travel routes, not routes across ancient deserts or rivers, but pathways through the celestial expanse, journeys undertaken by the supreme deity of the Anunnaki, known as Enlil. This was a map, not of Earth, but of the heavens, a guide for beings whose origins lay far beyond our world. And as if to underscore this unsettling narrative, countless depictions of these very Sumerian deities, the Anunnaki, reveal an astonishing detail. Etched into the stone, painted onto ancient frescoes, they are often shown wearing what appear to be sophisticated wrist devices. Devices that, to the modern eye, bear an uncanny resemblance to contemporary wristwatches. A small, anachronistic detail, perhaps, but one that gnaws at the edges of our understanding, suggesting a level of technology that should not have existed in that distant past. Further investigation into ancient texts, unearthed from the very civilizations that revered these celestial visitors, revealed another disturbing correlation. Scholars poring over these brittle fragments of history began to pinpoint locations described as cosmodromes. These were not mere mythical sites, but places whose geographical coordinates corresponded with an unnerving accuracy to the very epicenters of ancient earthly civilizations. The cradle of humanity, it seemed, was also a landing strip. According to the Sumerian tablets themselves, these extraterrestrial visitors utilized a specific aerial corridor for their flights above Earth, a pathway that stretched directly over the basin of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. This very region, a vibrant artery of ancient life, encompassed the great civilizations of Egypt and Mesopotamia, precisely where these enigmatic cosmodromes were said to exist. But then, a chilling question arises, one that echoes through the vast emptiness of time. If these otherworldly beings once frequented the Sumerians, if they once walked among them, why have they not returned to these ancient landing sites? Why the profound silence, the sudden, inexplicable absence? Perhaps the answer lies in a concept once articulated by the brilliant, yet often unsettling mind of cosmologist Stephen Hawking. He theorized that extraterrestrial intelligences might refrain from making contact with us due to our comparatively low degree of development. A dismissive judgment, perhaps, from a civilization far beyond our comprehension. Yet, a darker thought lingers. What if our trajectory, our very understanding of the cosmos, could have been vastly more advanced had the Sumerians not, for some unknown reason, ceased their cooperation with the Anunnaki? What knowledge might have been lost in that cessation? What paths to the stars forever closed? You cannot even begin to fathom the sheer breadth of human endeavor, the countless spheres of existence in which the ancient Sumerian civilization stood as an unparalleled pioneer. Consider for a moment the seemingly simple, yet utterly revolutionary invention of the wheel. It was the Sumerians who first conceived of this fundamental mechanical principle, transforming transportation, agriculture, and warfare. Their ingenuity did not stop there. They were the first to devise a complex, intricate system of irrigation, a monumental feat of engineering that allowed them to artificially water vast tracts of arid land, transforming desolate landscapes into fertile breadbaskets. Their cities were not haphazard collections of dwellings, but meticulously planned metropolises, laid out with a sophisticated grid system of streets, a blueprint for urban planning that would be emulated by civilizations for millennia to come. In those ancient days, they were also the first to systematically develop metallurgy, harnessing the raw power of copper and other metals to forge a dazzling array of tools and formidable weaponry. Beyond the simple implements of daily life, they crafted armor, helmets designed to deflect blows, mail shirts woven from countless rings of metal, and sturdy shields that offered crucial protection in battle, all fashioned from bronze, copper, and even early iron. The Sumerians bequeathed to humanity its very first form of written communication, a system we now call cuneiform. They meticulously carved these wedge-shaped symbols onto clay tablets, preserving for eternity their laws, their sacred rituals, their complex business transactions, and countless other vital documents. Their understanding of the precise sciences was nothing short of incredible. For instance, they developed a sophisticated numerical system based on the number 60, a foundational structure that continues to underpin our modern measurement of time and the degrees within geometry. They also compiled one of history's earliest calendars, a meticulous reckoning of the year based on the cycles of the moon. They divided their year into 12 distinct months, each month, in turn, comprised of 30 days, a profound understanding of the celestial dance, captured in the very rhythm of their lives. Perhaps they saw something in us, something we still cannot see in ourselves, something that made them turn away. The whispers of forgotten tongues, etched into ancient clay, speak of a knowledge that should not have been. 6 millennia ago, long before the first crude telescope pierced the velvet shroud of night, the Sumerians possessed an understanding of the cosmos that defies every logical explanation. They knew the Earth, a fragile jewel, spun tirelessly around the sun, a celestial dance we only rediscovered centuries later. Their astronomers, with an insight that chills the blood, had already meticulously charted the heavens, dividing the zodiac into 12 distinct signs, each a marker in a grand, unseen clockwork. They spoke of planets, not as distant shimmering lights, but as fully formed worlds. Uranus, officially unveiled to the Western world in 1781, and Pluto, a cosmic secret only pried open in 1920, were already catalogued in their star charts. Think of it, a civilization existing in the 4th and 3rd millennia before our era, without the sophisticated optics, the advanced mathematics, the very tools we consider essential for such discoveries. How could they have seen what was invisible? How could they have known what was yet to be found? The conventional narrative, the comforting story of human ingenuity, falters and cracks under the weight of this impossible knowledge. We want to believe our ancestors, through sheer brilliance and tireless observation, unlocked these secrets on their own. But the shadows in the periphery of history suggest a different, far more unsettling truth. Modern genetics, a science that delves into the very blueprint of life itself, might just be unearthing the most profound and disturbing evidence yet. Evidence suggesting humanity's very existence, our consciousness, our potential, might be a meticulously engineered legacy, a gift, or perhaps a curse from entities far beyond our comprehension. The name echoes through forgotten lore, the Anunnaki. In 1963, a quiet revelation emerged from the scientific community. Scientists at Stockholm University, Margit and Søren Ness, made a discovery that reshaped our understanding of cellular biology. They found that human DNA, the instruction manual for who we are, wasn't confined solely to the nucleus of our cells. There was another kind, a distinct genetic signature, residing outside the nucleus, in the mitochondria. They called it mitochondrial DNA. For those who dare to look beyond the accepted narratives, this discovery was a thunderclap. It became a cornerstone for a theory that sends shivers down the spine, that the Anunnaki, these enigmatic beings, did not merely observe or guide, they intervened. They wove their own genetic threads into the fabric of nascent humanity, a deliberate act of cosmic engineering. The chilling implication: they sought to forge a hybrid race, not just intelligent, not just capable of learning, but crucially, controllable. Imagine a species designed with an inherent, unseen tether, a silent command structure embedded within their very cells. Mitochondrial DNA, passed down exclusively from mother to child, generation after generation, becomes the perfect, insidious vehicle for preserving this foreign genetic imprint, a silent, unbroken chain stretching across millennia, ensuring the Anunnaki's legacy, and perhaps their influence, endures within the human population. The words, it paints a terrifying picture of our origins. It suggests that these architects of humanity desired us to possess a certain level of advancement, to be capable, to build, to create, but never, never to truly reach their echelon. Any flicker of independent ambition, any surge towards true parity with our creators, was met with swift, brutal suppression. The Great Flood, often recounted as a divine wrath, takes on a new, more sinister meaning. A cosmic reset button, a violent culling of a species threatening to outgrow its designed parameters. A chilling reminder of who truly holds the reins. Even within the ancient Sumerian texts, fragments hint at this profound connection. They speak of Gilgamesh, a king of Uruk, a figure of immense strength and wisdom, whose lineage was not entirely human. He was, some accounts suggest, a descendant of the Anunnaki. The legends tell of an impossible journey. Gilgamesh, taken by these beings into the vast, silent expanse beyond Earth. He was shown his home world, not from a mountaintop, but from the chilling perspective of their own planet, a distant, shimmering sphere in the cosmic dark. As Earth dwindled to a fragile speck, a profound existential terror seized him. The sheer insignificance, the crushing realization of humanity's minute place in their grand tapestry, overwhelmed him. He was returned, forever changed, a man who had glimpsed the true scale of the universe and the power that wielded it. Was it a privilege or a warning? A demonstration of their might, or a calculated psychological operation to instill a fear of the unknown, of the other? Gilgamesh, however, is not the only historical figure whispered to have such an otherworldly connection. Conspiracy theorists point to other lineages, other anomalies, suggesting a pervasive influence from these beings, often linked to a mythical planet known as Nibiru. Consider Queen Nefertiti, whose iconic bust, unearthed from the sands of Amarna in Egypt, captivates and unsettles simultaneously. Her features, so distinct, so elegant, are also profoundly unusual for an Egyptian ruler. The elongated, almost impossibly graceful neck, the captivating, oversized eyes, and most strikingly, the subtle, yet undeniable elongation of her skull. It is a silhouette that mirrors the descriptions of the Anunnaki, a physical marker of a shared, non-human ancestry. Pharaoh Khufu, the mastermind behind the Great Pyramid of Giza, is another figure whose kinship with these extraterrestrial architects is posited. And then there are the ancient figures of gods, depicted with the same strangely elongated heads, a testament to a physical trait that was both revered and perhaps genetically engineered. Khufu himself lived to an astonishing 96 years, a lifespan that was virtually unheard of in ancient Egypt, where the average man was fortunate to see past 40, a life extended far beyond the natural limits of his time. Was it a mark of divine favor, or a biological advantage inherited from those who walked among us, yet were never truly one of us? The chilling thought lingers. What if the very essence of human potential, the drive to create, to explore, to innovate, is not entirely our own? What if it is a carefully calibrated program, designed by an unseen hand, allowing us to flourish? but only within the confines of a cage we cannot perceive. Imagine the desert wind whispering secrets across millennia, secrets etched into colossal stones, perfectly aligned, defying every known law of ancient engineering. The Great Pyramid, a monument to an impossible feat, blocks, some weighing 80 tons, hoisted hundreds of feet, placed with astronomical precision. Who truly built them? Not with copper tools and sheer will, not without a knowledge of mathematics and celestial mechanics that would rival our own. The whispers speak of the Anunnaki, beings from the heavens, architects of our very genesis, or perhaps our doom. Their presence, the ultimate key to unlocking the horizon that once held their arrival. These megalithic wonders, their very placement, mirror the celestial ballet of Orion's belt, a cosmic blueprint, a message embedded in stone, waiting for the right eyes to read it. Such advanced understanding of the cosmos, of geometry, of engineering principles that seem to defy the very timeline of human development. Where did it come from? A gift from above, or a forced lesson? Ancient texts, shrouded in myth and fear, speak of Nibiru, the 12th planet, and with it, the return of the Anunnaki. Not a sudden, unexpected visit, but a cyclical journey, once every 3,600 years. A cosmic pendulum, swinging through the void, bringing with it either enlightenment or annihilation. We anticipate their next arrival in roughly 1,500 years, a date whispered with a mixture of dread and longing. But what if our calculations are flawed? What if the celestial clock ticks faster than we dare to imagine? The Anunnaki are not benevolent gods, nor are they pure demons. They are something far more complex, far more terrifying. They are said to have once wiped out civilizations, reshaping the world through cataclysmic events, a great flood remembered in every culture. Yet they also bestowed knowledge, sparking the flames of human advancement. Will they return as teachers, sharing untold technologies, or as conquerors, seeing us as nothing more than an experiment gone awry? Our destiny, it seems, is not our own. Are we their students, eager to learn? Their prisoners, bound by unseen chains? Or merely their chattel, bred for a purpose we cannot comprehend? Today, the whispers grow louder. Conspiracists claim that the blood of the Anunnaki still flows through a chosen few, a genetic marker, Rh negative blood, said to be a telltale sign of this alien lineage. A lineage not found randomly, but concentrated within the very elite of our world. From the British Crown, in the veins of Queen Elizabeth II, to the glittering stages of Holsey individuals, holding immense power and influence, are believed by some to be the direct descendants, the chosen ones, the hybrid beings meant to bridge the gap between our world and theirs. They walk among us, their ancient blood a silent testament to a hidden truth. And the question lingers, a cold dread settling in the pit of the stomach. When our creators finally return, will these chosen few represent us, or merely greet their masters?